This is gonna be a video about Ratchet and Clank Into at the Nexus, and yeah, so Into at the Nexus, it is one of the rare PS3 games. Now, Into at the Nexus takes place before Rift Apart in terms of chronologically, like in the story. Into the Nexus plays very similar to those other Ratchet and Clank games. Now, the one drawback with this game is that it is short. It is a short game compared to Tools of Destruction, A Crack in Time, even Ratchet and Clank Size Matters, or Ratchet and Clank 3. This is a relatively short Ratchet and Clank game. So the playtime is going to be shorter. I don't know what it was I like with this game. I don't know why it was short. I guess, I don't know if it was the dev time in it. It is a short game. Ratchet and Clank Into, at the Nexus. So, like with these games, I like to talk about the weapons that you get like in the games. Into at the Nexus, right, it brings back similar weapons, but they're just named differently, right? You get the Buzz Blades, but it's a different name this time. You get the regular blaster, that's a different name this time. You get, grenades, this winter gun. You get the warmonger, a rocket launcher, and this weird shotgun weapon, and as well, Mr. Zircon is also brought back in it, and yeah. So, like with the weapons, the Buzz Blades is probably my favorite Ratchet and Clank weapon, and this one really does a great job with it. It's not called the Buzz Blades. They changed the name, right? It's something else, but yeah, it's like this massive purple weapon, and yeah, so it literally shoots out bullets that literally bounces off surfaces and bounces off enemies. And yeah, so the bullets go like all over, the place. And they're very good for a crowd control against bosses, and yeah. The regular blasters are back, so once you upgrade them, so it goes from a single wheel weapon to a dual wheel weapon, and they're actually pretty good here in terms of damage. Grenades, right? When they're upgraded, you can do, there's like multi grenades, and yeah. Now the winter weapon, so the winter weapon is kind of like, you remember, what was it again in a previous Ratchet and Clank? I think it was called the pig weapon, where you could turn enemies into sheep or like pigs. So this one literally turns enemies. So the winter weapon turns enemies into like snowman, right? And you can take them out in one melee hit. The Warmonger 2 as well is back, right? It does high damage, right? As well as this shotgun weapon. And this Dimensionator kind of grab. So like there's like this entity that you can use. It's like a certain type of, I don't know, a grenade. And not so much, a grenade, but you literally use it, to hit things. And yeah. Also as well, you have like this a nightmare box gun, which literally throws the enemies off, and it literally distracts the enemies, right? So it's gonna have lots of weapons. Now this one doesn't have as many weapons as Tools of Destruction or A Crack in Time. Those ones will have a larger selection of weapons, and yeah. This one has new features in it, like zero gravity sections. So in these zero gravity segments, you get like these boots that can literally, they're kind of like magnets, and they literally attach onto platforms, right? Making it easier to, for you to attach onto platforms, and yeah. Now Into, at the Nexus has other features in it too as well, like, it's gonna have Ratchet and Clank, they're known for at times mini games and puzzles. It's gonna have puzzles. So there's a certain mini game in it. So it's like a platformer. It's like a zero gravity platformer, and kind of think like kind of a jetpack joyride. It's similar to a jetpack joyride, but you play as Clank, and literally, you control gravity. Now it is tricky because some of the areas are very tight, so the platforms are tight, and you gotta squeeze in through to avoid the pink liquid areas. So literally to Clank, he kind of through this kind of secret power, he goes in between the dimensions, and then the game triggers like this kind of platforming, right? The platforming gameplay, and yeah. It's actually interesting though in that, the control, so you're literally only using the left stick and the L1 button. So the L1 button, which slows everything down, so you can move more efficiently and easier. Now Into the Nexus as well also has like these gravity nets, right? Or these gravity things where, how would you call them again? Like you literally trigger them. So They're like a magnet. So you trigger them like on a wall, then you literally connect them like to something else, and you use them to literally float. So it floats you to another side, like of the a platform, and yeah. Yeah, so in terms of like now the planets that you go to, right? So like I said before, the biggest drawback is the length of the game. It's not a very long Ratchet and Clank game. Now you go to only 5 planets, which is kind of a letdown. I'm used to tools of a destruction or up your arsenal where you went to literally like 13, 14 planets, 12, 13 planets, and yeah. Now, in terms of like, the graphics of the game, the visuals in the game, right? The planets that you go to. This is, at this outside of A Rift Apart and the remake, this is the most one of the most recent Ratchet and Clank games. And yeah, so visually it's gonna look very good in the lighting, the resolution, and all that. And it came out at the very end of the PS3 generation. But like the planets that you travel to, so there's one planet, it's like a challenge. So you try and get a bronze, silver, gold trophy. Sorry, rewards, and yeah. So, like with the story of the nexus starts off like Ratchet and Clank, they're in space, and this prisoner called Vendra, right? So Vendra, like this prisoner, and then her brother is like this kind of criminal, like in this galaxy, and yeah, after the brother breaks her free, and then they kind of steal this a dimensionator, and they which literally creates like a crack, right? So like this crack in reality. And so like I get like these monsters that kind of bleeds into like the main Ratchet and Clank universe. Other things too, it brought back the, what do you call it, a jetpack? No, what do you call them again? The jetpack boots, right? So they literally move you throughout the environment quicker, and they can go up ramps. Those are back, and the jetpack, the actual jetpack, which makes you fly. Now the jetpack is only for specific areas, right? So you can't trigger it anytime you want. Other things too, like in the game, it is a very replayable game because it is short. But that is, again, because it is a short Ratchet and Clank game, that is one of the drawbacks. Now, talking about pricing of the game is gonna vary, but I see it for $30-$40, and it is a PS3 game. You don't wanna spend more than $20 for a PS3 game because they're older, and yeah. Now, due to the rarity of the game, and if you like to collect Ratchet and Clank games or rare games, I recommend it, right? If you have the money for it, and yeah. Now, it is, like I said before, it is rare, so it's going to be hard to find. I recommend check eBay. eBay might be a little more. I got it off Facebook Marketplace a little bit less. I'm not sure about Craigslist or a Poshmark or whatever is out there. But yeah, it is a rare game. So yeah, please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching.